The banquet hall smelled of expensive perfume and champagne. Laughter rippled through the air, bouncing off crystal chandeliers and marble floors. Beneath the golden light, servers in black uniforms scurried like shadows, carrying trays heavy with glasses and hors d'oeuvres. Among them was Emily Carter, a young woman no older than 23. Her hair was pulled back in a simple bun, her uniform slightly oversized, her shoes borrowed from her cousin. She was on her very first shift at this elite restaurant, and she could feel every eye sizing her up. Emily wasn't from money. She wasn't even from comfort. She came from a tiny apartment on the rougher side of town, where rent consumed most of her paycheck from her part-time library job. Her mother's medical bills piled higher than her own dreams. This waitress job was supposed to be her way of breathing, of giving her family a little space to survive. But what happened that night would change her life forever. As Emily bent to serve a tray of drinks to a circle of laughing men in expensive suits, one voice rose above the others. "New girl," the man barked. She turned. He was tall, sharp-featured, and radiated power like heat from an open flame. His Rolex glimmered. His tailored suit looked like it was stitched with arrogance itself. He was Alexander Graves, CEO of Graves International, a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate known for ruthless takeovers and cold-blooded decisions. "Don't just stand there. You dropped a napkin?" he sneered. "Pick it up." Emily bent gracefully, reaching for the napkin. But before she could rise, his words cut deeper than knives. "No, crawl. Crawl like the little dog you are." The men around him roared with laughter. Emily froze, her face hot, her throat tight. For a moment she wanted to disappear. Every cell in her body screamed to cry, to scream to quit. But her family's faces flashed in her mind. Her mother, pale and frail in bed, whispering, "We'll be okay, Emily." Her younger brother, working nights at a gas station to afford textbooks. So, she swallowed her pride. She crawled. She picked up the napkin with shaking fingers, stood up, placed it back on the table. The room laughed harder. Alexander smirked, sipping his champagne as if nothing had happened. But deep in Emily's chest, something ignited. Not shame, resolve. The spark of revenge that night. Emily cried in the alley behind the restaurant, but not for long. Tears turned into fury, and fury turned into fire. She remembered her father, a man who once built a small business from scratch, only to lose everything when Graves International crushed him with unfair contracts. Her family had been victims before, but no more. Emily wasn't going to let Alexander Graves humiliate her and walk away untouched. She wasn't a waitress. She wasn't a pawn. She was smarter than anyone in that glittering room could imagine. She was a quiet storm waiting to strike. The plan Emily's strength wasn't wealth or power. It was knowledge. In college, before dropping out to support her family, she had studied computer science and finance. She had a sharp eye for numbers, loopholes, and patterns. She began to research Graves International. Night after night, she pored over online reports, shareholder meetings, obscure filings hidden deep in government databases. She read whistleblower accounts, employee reviews, anything she could get her hands on. And then, she found it. A hidden thread, a trail of illegal offshore accounts, money laundering schemes, and falsified profits. The empire wasn't built on brilliance. It was built on lies. But one person couldn't take it down alone. So, Emily began reaching out, quietly, carefully. She spoke to ex-employees who had been discarded, ruined, silenced. She connected with activists, journalists, and even small competitors who had been crushed under Graves's empire. Bit by bit, she built an alliance. The first blow came quietly. An anonymous report sent to regulatory authorities, a series of leaked documents to journalists. Whispers turned into headlines. Graves International under investigation. CEO Alexander Graves denies corruption allegations. Emily watched from her tiny apartment as the news spread like wildfire, but Graves was powerful. He dismissed it all as fake news, hired the best lawyers, and carried on as if untouchable. So Emily pushed harder. She hacked into Graves International's internal systems, not to steal but to expose. Thousands of incriminating emails, contracts, and memos surfaced online. Investors panicked. Stock prices trembled. Employees whispered. And then the dominoes fell. Within 6 months, Graves International crumbled. Government agencies froze their assets. Investors pulled billions. Class action lawsuits erupted. Alexander Graves, once the untouchable king of industry, was dragged before courts in handcuffs, his empire reduced to ashes. And Emily, she never revealed her name, she never sought fame. She only wanted justice. But justice wasn't enough. She wanted change. With the help of her newfound allies, she started a non-profit organization supporting small businesses destroyed by corporate greed. She offered microloans, mentorship, and legal support, giving back what Graves had stolen. The girl who once crawled on the floor now stood taller than skyscrapers. When asked why she did it, Emily finally spoke in a rare interview. Humiliation doesn't define you. Pain doesn't chain you. Even if you're forced to crawl one night, you can rise the next morning and change the world. Power isn't about money, it's about courage. Her words lit up the hearts of millions. And somewhere, in a prison cell, Alexander Graves sat alone, haunted not by his crimes, but by the memory of the young waitress who had brought him down. Final call to action A for YouTube video narration. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment below. What would you have done if you were Emily? And remember, no matter how small you feel, your courage can change the world. This is Be Kind Always. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss more inspiring stories like this one. Stay strong, stay kind, always.